Now, the EFF say they will seek an urgent interdict against the riot police who entered the National Assembly during Thursday's heated debate. Can Parliament call the police in such situations? Well, to discuss this, we are joined on the line by constitutional law expert, Professor Shadrack Ghutto. Professor, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us on PM News.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to the listeners.
Thank you so much. Now, Professor, in terms of the constitutional law, was Parliament right in summoning the help of the unit police outside?
Well, I think it is important to underline the fact that the police are free and have an obligation really to enter and to be anywhere in order to prevent crime being committed. And I think that's a constitutional obligation of the police. The question, of course, here is, was any crime being committed or imminent crime was about to occur? Apart from the pushing around and the shouting at each other and being rowdy does not mean that you are committing an offense. And I think that on both sides of the House, both the members of Parliament from the ANC and those from the opposition behaved in a manner that may bring disrepute to Parliament, but that is not a crime. And the Parliament has to operate within the constitutional parameters. Freedom of expression is clear. The only areas where there are limitation is if one is engaged in propaganda for war or is threatening imminent violence or is advocating hatred, which is based on race, ethnicity, gender, religion, and culture. And none of those applied in this particular case, because I think that what the opposition parties, most of them are saying, is that the president must answer, and that Parliament must play its role of accountability, which is another constitutional mandate of Parliament.
Professor, now the issues of privileges and immunity in Parliament, we know there's even a special privileges committee in Parliament. Can then MPs insult each other and others and hide behind these rules?
Well, insult is really not something that is not known in many parliamentary democracies the world over, where they can call you a buffoon, a fool, a thief, whatever. It's not something which I think is unusual in Parliament. Of course, from the electorate point of view, citizens, one would rather not have that and have a situation where there's mutual respect among members of Parliament. They can disagree and disagree vigorously without using abusive terms and so on. But we don't have law which prohibits someone from abusing another person.
Now, Professor, if such chaos ensues during these discussions, what could it do to the credibility of the National Assembly and even our democracy?
Well, I think that it makes the public, the citizens, really wonder how these structures of government are operating. How is the executive operating? Because the executive has taken the problem of Canberra to Parliament. And I think that's where the problem is. So the game is being played in Parliament, but it is a matter which the executive should have dealt with according to the Constitution and the laws of the country. Parliament itself is finding itself in a very difficult situation because the ad hoc committee which was set up to deal with the Canberra issue is largely now ANC focused body rather than a real committee that would ask those who are role players to come and testify and so on. So I think that is where some of the anger may be coming from. But I think that members of Parliament are expected really to deal with each other with a certain level of respect and disagree vigorously, but not necessarily to threaten any violence and so on. And the other problem, of course, is that whoever was ready to call the police in, I think also overreacted, because I think the police are going through a very difficult time after Marikana and so on, and should really desist from being seen to rush into situations like this in Parliament. Parliament has security apparatus within it that will have dealt with this.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your time. That's Professor Shadrack Ghutto, constitutional law expert, talking to us about the chaos that ensued at the National Assembly yesterday.